Because you can't hear me if I'm not talking in the microphone, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm not going to go through like the whole I was born a few years ago and all that stuff. But here's what so if you've been around for any length of time, like last month I stepped up to director, okay? But if you've been around for any length of time, you know that was not the first time I've done that. So I was in Tupperware about a year, 15 months maybe, and I became a director. And then we used the phrase life happens, and I fell out. Then I stepped back up. And I have to admit that when I stepped right back up, life was still happening. So that went okay for a little while, and then I fell out again. So then 3 months later, I stepped back up. Now there was a lot of extra pressure on that second 3-month thing to step back up, but we won't go there. No, there really wasn't. So, but I kept thinking that we used the phrase, and Jeni used it when she was talking, life happens. You know, life happens and it's okay to step back. And it is, and life happens, but guys, life happens every day. So it's not like an excuse, it's not a reason, and things do happen. Things do happen that make it mentally or physically impossible to really focus on what you need to do. But I read something this morning on Facebook that kind of made me laugh, and it said, if you can't find joy in the snow, you're going to lose joy in your life, but there's still going to be the same amount of snow. This is so very true. That was Lori. Thank you, Lori.
I can't find joy in this.
And so what I guess what I want to say about Tupperware is, while life was happening, and we always talk about that like it's a bad thing, the flip side of that is there was a lot of life happening to me at the same time that was really, really good. And you don't necessarily see that right away. I mean, if things are going really bad, whatever's happening in your life, divorce or, you know, financial disaster or a death or something like that, you can't necessarily go, oh, well, there's probably good coming out of this. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen, all right? But if you wait a minute and step back and just start to look, so when I started thinking about that, life happens, life does happen, and sometimes it's really good. So I kind of went back over some of the stuff in my life that has happened, and we won't go into that because we don't have time, and it's not a Lifetime movie. Almost everything I could go back and look at, I could find where good things came out of that. So just like a few highlights, things happened when I was a kid, and I went into foster care, okay? The people were really nice. I will say that when you see the foster care stories, that's not where I was, but that taught me a lot about other people and respecting other people's family things, respecting the way other people live, their traditions. So that was a good thing. I had an optional first marriage. I had a horrible first marriage, okay? I'm not even gonna try and scoot that over. He was abusive, he was an alcoholic. One would think that was definitely a life happens. I had 3 beautiful children out of that marriage and learned a lot about dealing with people, how addiction affects people, how it affects families, because it's not just that person it affects, it's everybody they know. After that, life happened and I met a wonderful person, had another baby. We had a great life together. It was fantastic. And he's the one that convinced me that Tupperware was a good idea. Turns out he thought it was a good idea because we were both home a lot because he retired and he wanted me out of the house a couple days a week. But that's okay. That's all right. Whatever worked for him. I had a good time. I did not mean to have a good time with Tupperware, ever. I wanted the Power Chef, like I said when Gina asked. I wanted the Power Chef. I was done. I did a party because he said I would be good. So I called my daughter and I said, we're gonna do a party. She said, no, we're not. I said, yes, we are. She goes, what if I don't invite anybody? I said, we'll go out to breakfast, call it a day, and I'll tell your dad I tried. That didn't work. She invited people. I booked parties. I had a good time. And then I started meeting people that I really, really, really don't know what I would do without in my life. Most of them are sitting in this room. And life happened again. So I'm doing Tupperware, I'm doing pretty good, but I'm not like all in. I was a director, but I still wasn't all in. We didn't have to have the money. I didn't have to have the products. but I was having a good time, and I like to have a good time, who knew? And so that was going on. Well, then my husband got sick, and the people that I had met just in that short amount of time in Tupperware became such a support system and such an amazing bunch of friends that it took me through that whole life happens in a way that I would have never gone through it before. And I will admit to you now that it has taken me 3 years to be able to look at that part of life happens and even attempt to find something reasonably okay about it. But when I got to actually being honest with myself, it's not the way I would have chosen to become the person I'm starting to be now, but it is what started it. And because you can't go back and change what's already happened, it makes so much more sense to go with what is going on. So the whole point of this little talk is not to say Tupperware is the end-all be-all to everything. This is what you need to do. I don't care what else is going on in your life, stick with Tupperware. It's not to say every time something happens, grab it and use it as an excuse or a reason to not be able to go where you want to go. The whole purpose of this is to say no matter what's going on, no matter where you're at or where you've been, the only thing that matters at this point is where you're at right now and where you're going. So decide where you want to be, decide what you want to do, and go for it. And if there's things in your past that bother you or that you're not proud of, you know what, they're in your past. And the only people that know those things are the people that you tell. And if other people know it and they want to keep bringing it up, all you have to do is just prove to them that that's not who you are anymore. So that's kind of the big thing. And Tupperware has really, really, really made that possible for me to, anybody that's in this room that knew me a couple years ago will tell you that I am a different person. I really, really am. I didn't talk, if that bothers you at all. I would never have done this. There were so many things I wouldn't do. I stayed home. People would say, do you want to go somewhere? I was like, no, I don't want to go anywhere. Thank you very much, I'm fine right here. And my grandkids will tell you I didn't go anywhere. I wasn't doing anything. They'd come over, we make cake. That was my big grandma thing, would make cake with the Power Chef, which is why I started Tupperware. And I actually bought a stack cooker so they had something to cook cake in. But, so just think about what you want. And my why has been a really, really ongoing battle for me. It changes a lot, and that's okay too. So find your why, find your passion. I can go better with find your passion than I can your why. My passion is literally to help people and to make sure that other people do not find themselves in the same position that I was in, where I just wanted to feel sorry for myself and not move on. And that's no place to sit, it's nowhere to be. So ladies, find a passion, go with it, get back on your phones, find somebody to help because your times are running out for the night.